Have you ever been on a diet, seeing the weight drop on the scale, you're cruising along, and then a couple weeks in, it stops, maybe even goes up? So naturally, less calories, more cardio, right? That only makes sense when you're not losing weight. The scale hasn't budged or maybe even gone up a pound or two since last week, despite you sticking to your diet or maybe even hitting your macros perfectly. Here's the deal. First off, this is normal. Okay, if you are weighing yourself every day, you're going to see fluctuations, or honestly, even once a week. Okay, so if you are weighing yourself once a week, the scale is doing, this with that downward trend, you maybe hit one of those high days, and that's the only visual that you have. Okay, as long as the scale isn't an issue mentally, I'll often have clients weigh every single day to make sure that you're catching that low and that a calorie or macro set is actually working for them. Okay, but sometimes even when all is perfectly on point, the scale isn't just going to go straight down. Honestly, that's not even necessarily what you want. Okay, that's not how our bodies work. If you are losing fat at an appropriate rate, which is 1 to 1.5 pounds per week, usually 2 at the very most, or 10% of your body weight. Think of it again like a roller coaster. Say, right, you're seeing this, but you're ultimately seeing that downward trend. If you're only weighing yourself once a week, again, you may miss that low. Okay. And when you weigh on the higher one, it may seem like you hit a plateau where you really just hit that high day. So when you're in a deficit, we want minimum effective dosage in order to maintain muscle mass. If you go cutting calories, adding cardio, every time you think you've plateaued and it hasn't been more than honestly 2-3 weeks, you're literally cutting yourself short and you're going to hit a brick wall real quick. When calories get too low, not only are you looking at lack of nutrients, but low blood sugar, which can lead to dizziness, mood swings, cravings, okay? And often, right, a lot of that restriction leading you to completely fall off the rails with that all or nothing mindset and give it up altogether, okay? You should be consistent with a plan for at least 2 to 3 weeks and seeing zero changes on the scale, measurement, and pictures before you go, and the way your clothes are fitting, that kind of thing, okay, before you go cutting calories or adding work. It's this kind of patience that makes people give up and have to start again Monday. So here's the other thing to consider. When you train harder, you actually create more inflammation, which causes your body to hold on to water. The less you eat, the more it stresses your body out, which causes your body to hold on to more water. So the more you work to break that plateau, you may actually be pushing the scale the opposite direction. Another thing you may need to consider is how low your calories are and how long you've been there. If you've been at or below 1,500 calories for weeks or months, okay, and you were maybe initially seeing weight loss, but since then you've stopped, you may be experiencing what is called metabolic adaptation, which I talked about prior, but our bodies are amazing and very adaptable, okay? So when you're in a deficit for that long period of time, your body actually requires less energy to survive and decreases the amount of energy that it will output to perform everyday functions. This isn't optimal, but it's efficient. So, unfortunately, your body can and it will adapt down to a point where you're not getting adequate nutrients. It can lead to organ failure, hair loss, bloating, gas, trouble sleeping, among a host of other hormonal issues, right? And the answer is likely not what you want to hear, but the only way out of this is by increasing calories, replenishing nutrients, and allowing your body to restore your hormones and optimize that metabolic function. The good news is that it's not permanent, okay? And your body will adapt again, but it takes time. So, and this is where the long-term vision of knowing that even if you're not seeing the specific compositional changes or scale changes that you want to see right now, that the choices you're making and the actions you're taking are still serving you, okay? So the next time you think, I'll just cut out carbs this week, I encourage you to stop and really think about, one, how consistent you've really been. Two, how long you've been consistent for. Three, if you're not weighing yourself every day, start. 4, be honest with yourself. Are you, actually tracking everything that you're eating? Are you taking little bites in between? Are you weighing things if you really want to get that specific? Okay. And then also, have you been dieting for too long and just not eating adequate calories? You may need a period of eating more before trying to cut back again. If you've done all of the above, make sure you're getting enough protein. Don't touch your protein. And you're going to start cutting from carbs and fats with an overall calorie decrease of about 10%. And that's how you make adjustments. Slow, right? Small, and leave protein alone. You may even need to increase it depending on where you go from there, but then decreasing carbs and fats.